I'm Morgan Dreamis, and today I'm at New York Comic Con with authors Susan and Clay Griffith. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Really good. Excited. Well, it's very excited to have you because you just have a top pick in the last RT magazine for the Kingmakers. It's the last in your trilogy, your Vampire Empire trilogy, which is a little bit of a rhyme. I like that.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, first of all, this is the third book in the series. Was it a little bittersweet to say goodbye?
Yes. I mean, it's been a long haul. We've been working on these books for like 5 years and more. So, but it's been kind of bittersweet knowing that, we had to wrap everything up. I'm going to miss Ann Holt. I'm going to miss Gareth a lot. Writing them. Their voices to me always speak to me. They still speak to me even now. I mean, it's been... the book's been ended, and it's now like I keep thinking like, what would they be doing right now? I bet they'd be doing this. They'd be going over here to see this now, and I kind of miss that. I'm hoping that we'll have another opportunity sometime to go back to them because there's still lots of stories to tell. But a little bit bittersweet.
Yeah, well, you say that there's a lot of stories to tell, and I think that is very apropos considering the fact that you have combined romance, fantasy, paranormal, vampires, and other supernatural. I mean, is there anything that you weren't able to fit into the trilogy?
We didn't get westerns in there. We didn't try, but we combine genres because we love different genres. And the way we think of this trilogy is like an old Hollywood movie that had a little bit of everything. The classic movies, they were adventures, they had a little romance, they had some scares, they had some music. We didn't usually have. We didn't have any musical numbers. Well, actually, we did. We had an opera, and so it's like an big old Hollywood movie to us. A little bit of everything. Every reader that likes something can find something in Vampire Empire, and hopefully the other genres they'll grow to appreciate by being introduced to them as well.
I think that's completely true. And at RT, we do have a lot of readers that read across the genres, and you can kind of find whatever you're looking for. But then you can also pass it on to, I don't know, your husband, or if you have an older child, like, oh, you want to read this next. And I think that's really neat. But I have to ask, the actual writing process, you are co-authors. Yeah. Do you choose certain characters to write about, or is it more of a plot, you plot all together? Like, how do you do that?
We plot everything out in advance, well plotted out. So when we cut down to it, it's done chapter by chapter. So there is no guesswork in it. So, and then we start looking at what our strengths are. He's much better at history and politics. I'm much better at, the romance aspect and character development and stuff. So whenever we're looking at something, we're going, okay, this may be your forte, so you write that. But we try and keep it within, we don't go too far in advance, because if we do that, then, oh my God, I've killed so-and-so. Like, oh my God, I just made him to be like the hero of this next chapter, and we're screwed up. So we try and keep it very close to the outline. We try and make sure that, our strength and our weaknesses. I still play with the politics and the history because, you got to learn, you got to do these things, and he's got to do the romance stuff, and he's very good at the romance stuff now. So it's been really, it's basically a trade-off. So, I mean, you do stuff, but then we swap the chapters back and forth. So eventually those two separate voices become one. Okay. So. Well,
I can imagine it being a little hard plot-wise because there is a lot of mythology that went into this trilogy because we have vampires rising up a few centuries ago, and they rose up, they kind of took over, they ran the humans to the warm spots on Earth because they didn't like the equator. Of course, humans rebounded, they grew, their own society, and now there's, like you said, the politics and everything else. Taking this mythology and really growing it, how long did that take you to write and come up with?
It wasn't actually that difficult because we started with sort of classical vampire mythology, but since our vampires are not undead humans, they're just a parasitic species that co-evolved with humans, we said, okay, let's look at vampire mythology. What would be a biological reason for this myth to have occurred over time? And so we just developed it. It wasn't that hard. It actually was very exciting and interesting to do. And surprisingly, we don't think it's been done before quite this way.
So, I'm going to have to ask you, the next project you're working on, are we going to get vampires? Are we going to get an alternate history? What are you thinking about right now?
It is a new, it's still going to have the neo-Victorian. It's actually going to be Victorian London. So we are sticking to the past. We're doing another historical. Of course, it will be kind of alternate just because it's not, there will be some supernatural occultish elements to it too. So there's a little bit of doing the same things that people have come to us for Vampire Empire will still be included in the new series as well. So we still can't talk a lot about it yet.
I understand.
But hoping. We're waiting for the green light, and we can't wait to talk about it. It's been really hard not to, but it will have some of those same elements.
Okay, and for you, this new project you're working on, what would you say is one of your favorite elements that's starting to emerge?
A couple of things. One, it's a group. It's more of an ensemble story than Vampire Empire, which focused on Adela and Gareth. This is a group, so I enjoy that. It sort of harkens back to the old superhero group books that I love, like the Avengers and the Justice League. So you get to play with different characters' voices and how they interact with one another. And it's a big adventure story, and it's got a little romance in it, so
yeah.
It's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Again, this is Clay and Susan Griffith, and they just have a top pick out, The Kingmakers, which is the last book in the Vampire Empire trilogy. I suggest everyone goes out and gets it now.